The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
This is the Sean Hannity Show and the Stop Obama Express. The countdown to taking our country back. T-minus 174 days till Election Day 2012. Now, with the best election coverage in America, here's Sean Hannity.
All right, thanks, Scott Shannon. Welcome aboard. Thanks for being with us. Toll free, it's 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. So the other day we have author Ed Klein on the program. He's written a brand new book. It's called The Amateur, Barack Obama in the White House. And we go through a series of things that he has put into this book. Now, he's going to join us on Hannity tonight. By the way, it drives liberals nuts every time he speaks. Ed Klein, we don't trust him. Well, we can't put him on. No, well, listen to what he has to say. So he tells a story about Reverend Jeremiah Wright in the book. And we discovered that he actually had almost 3 hours of interview time with Reverend Wright. So I asked him, did you tape record them? He says yes. I said, great. I said, can we have a copy? And Ed Klein says, sure. So we have spent the last 24 hours going through the entire 3 hours, and I want to run through some of this for you. Is it because, for me, it's interesting. For me, it's fascinating. The whole story of Reverend Wright, he is like family to me. I can no longer disown him than I can the black community. This leading up to a speech in Philly where he eventually throws Reverend Wright down the stairs. Now, in the book, there are a number of new details that come to light. In the middle of the Reverend Wright fiasco for the president back in the last election cycle, there's a private meeting that takes place between Wright and Obama. We also learn that Reverend Wright, he tells Ed Klein that, in fact, he was offered money not to preach, not to speak between March and November and the election in 2008. He also has an exchange with the president. My name comes up about, 3 times in this whole thing. Anyway, this is it. This is the interview, the Wright interview, and I want to go through this step by step. Here is Reverend Wright telling Ed Klein he has an email offering him money not to preach.
What's in the box? An email offering me money not to preach at all between the explosion of the media the first week in March and November election.
Email from whom?
One of his friends.
Whitaker.
Huh?
Whitaker.
Yeah.
All right, pretty interesting. So he's acknowledging here, and it came from Eric Whitaker. Now, this part was not in the book, but Ed Klein told us in the interview that we had with him. We'll get into more details when he's on Hannity tonight. One thing that was pretty interesting to me, again, all little nuggets, all little tidbits, all coming from somebody very close to the Obamas that feels betrayed by Obama. And in this case, he says about the Obamas that, hey, church is not their thing, never was their thing. And Klein points out that it was an integral part of the Obamas' politics, and that, in other words, that church for them seems to just be a constituency that he needed for his political ambition. Listen to this.
My point has been, and I haven't said this publicly to anybody, that like you talk about Toni Morrison, or you talk about, I know on occasion, Maya Angelou, you talk about these black women, they grew up in a church, most of them.
Yes.
She didn't. She grew up in a Hyde Park kind of Jack and Jill Lynx, middle income, who think they're middle class environment. She didn't the church affiliation.
Father was a priest in Catholic.
And when she came to the church, both of them came to the church. Their kids weren't raised in the church like you raise other kids in Sunday school and this, you know?
No?
No. Because that church is not their thing. It never was their thing. Well, we know it wasn't his, but she was not the kind of black woman whose mama made her go to church, made her go to Sunday school, made her go to BYPU if they're Baptist, or Richard Allen if they're Methodist. She wasn't raised in that kind of environment, so the church was not an integral part of their lives before they got married, after they got married.
But the church was an integral part of his politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he needed that base.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
All right, so that is them, but he needed it for the base, in other words, for his political ambition. And Wright says, correct. Now I'm going to skip one here. Obama was in the Senate. I'm going to move on to the next one here. He talks about the GD America sermon, which we have talked about at length. And here is his explanation of this.
That was 2001 sermon, but they picked that one little chicken coming home to roost.
Right.
2005, I was talking about confusing God and government. That was when Bush was telling us, go out and shop. God bless America. God bless America. Right? And I was talking about how you confuse God and government. Many of us have confused our government, made government God. But governments change. The Hebrew scriptures say, I am the Lord, I change not. God doesn't change. Governments lie. God says, I am not a man that I should lie. God doesn't lie. All right? And I think the last one was changed. Three things about government. But instead of God bless America, that's what you want to say. No, look what America has done. Not God bless America. In the spirit of Amos, Isaiah, where God condemns the nations for what you do, God damn America. Right? They took that one little clip from a 5-year-old sermon. I wouldn't take it back. I was telling the truth. God does not bless everything we do as human beings. And when we oppress the widows, the Hebrew scriptures say, not Christians, when you oppress the widows and orphans, you have no compassion for the poor, God condemns that. Why you want me to take it back? I wish I'd said more. I so I'd have more not to take back. No, I wouldn't change it because I didn't know it was going to be misused, taken out of context, and used, as you said, like a bludgeon. And I said, I've caricatured myself by saying, they used me as the weapon of mass destruction. They wanted me to destroy the masses' confidence in the president or the one who was running for president.
All right, so he won't take back GD America, and that's his explanation. Take it for what it is worth. And, the question is this the person that Obama knew all these years, in my mind? Now, Wright says back in 2010 at a speaking engagement in Los Angeles that a pastor came up to him and told him that Hillary Clinton's campaign paid him money to tear down Wright. And the pastor said that Hillary paid black preachers to attack him.
And to go back to another point that you raised that was also very true, I really had forgotten about it until 2010. It was 2010. I was in Los Angeles, and there was a pastors' meeting, an interdenominational pastors' meeting, and they asked me to speak. After the questions and answers and all that, one of the pastors came up to me. He said, this has nothing to do with your election. I just want you to know this. Please don't think it was just Republicans after you. I said, what? He said, I was offered money by the Hillary Clinton campaign to tear you down.
Good.
He said, but I knew you, so I didn't take the job. But I can tell you the guy here in Los Angeles who took it, she paid black preachers to attack you.
All right, so that's that point. Now, Klein asked Wright if he thinks Obama has helped his fellow African Americans and done things about social inequality. Wright says no. Here's what he says.
Barack Obama came to Chicago with the idea that he wanted to do something about social inequality, social justice, and helping his African-American brothers. Now, he's been in the office for 3 years now. Has he done that while he's been in office, in your view?
In my view, no. I'm smiling because my son, the guy who adopted me, who gave me the nickname Daddy J, Frederick Douglass Haynes, called me last night. And he said, what's the last night? Wednesday, Tuesday, there was a meeting at the White House.
Last night was Thursday.
So it was Wednesday. There was a meeting Wednesday at the White House of black religious leaders.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And really what it was, he said it was called a conference. And he went to the conference. He said there wasn't no conferring. They told us, here are all the wonderful things Barack has done for the black community. We need you now to get out there and mobilize your troops and get them reelected.
Right.
So whatever it is that the new campaign is saying that he has done to the black community is on that agenda that was handed to them Wednesday at the White House.
That's pretty damning. You know, and as the issue has now come into the fore in terms of many black ministers are saying, hey, we don't agree with the president's position on gay marriage. Now, Wright brings up another story about a symposium that took place on Obama and the black agenda. He references some comments that Louis Farrakhan made, and we keep forgetting Barack Obama was selected before he was elected. I don't know what to make of this, but listen to this.
Earlier this year, there was an all-day symposium on Barack Obama and the black agenda. And you can Google that, get it off YouTube. Minister Farrakhan was, from what I watched on YouTube, sat there not saying anything. And so the moderator said to him, Minister Farrakhan, don't you have anything to say? He said, yeah, I have a lot to say, but I'm listening, I'm learning. And they said, no, I mean, what's your perspective? He said, I think our brother needs a lot of help. I think he thought he could make these changes, the change he hoped for, the change we hoped for could come about with his being elected. I think he can't do that by himself. He needs a lot of help. But what I'm most amazed about is that as I listen to the conversation today, nobody has mentioned this. We keep forgetting that Barack Obama was selected before he was elected. You didn't select him. He's accountable to the ones who selected him and who paid for him to be the president. And I said, why do you think Wall Street got a break? They selected him. Why do you think the big three got a buyout? General Motors, Ford, President. They selected him. Why do you think he stands up and says, I am AIPAC. I am a Zionist. You have the money to select him.
Pretty damning words. You got to wonder. I mean, this is a very, very angry Jeremiah Wright here. Very angry. He says he tried to warn Obama about Rambo Deadfish and Axelrod not allowing Obama to listen to anything that's not on the party line.
And I was trying to talk to Barack about it. He doesn't want, I said, Ramen, man, you talking about the Seraphim. You got Ramen Manuel on one side and David Axelrod on the other. They're not going to let you listen to anything that's an alternative to the party line, man. The J Street lobby, the K Street lobby, come on. We're reading different things. He said, well, send it to me after I'm elected.
All right, so that was what he said there. They're not going to let you do anything besides the party line. My name did come up about 3 times. We're only going to do some of this today, and then we'll do more tomorrow. And there's a lot to get to. I mean, a very extensive 3 hours worth of tapes here, but here's more.
The black clergy got scared because of O'Reilly and Hannity and canceled their meeting with me. So I spent the day with Paul in his office. Paul Sorrentino, the chaplain at Amherst College. And while we were there, Barack called.
This is when?
This is the day before the announcement.
Before which announcement?
In Springfield, that he was running for the presidency. And he called to warn me that, I mean, not a negative warning the first time. The first call was not negative. Well, he said, Axelrod is going to call you because we go to Iowa tomorrow, and in your invocation, I was on the program to do the invocation the next morning. Don't say anything that would upset Iowa farmers, and if anything, talk about my abilities as a community organizer to reach all kinds of people. I said, I got it. He said, now, David Axelrod is a mother hen. He's going to repeat the same thing to you, but I'm just letting you know what he's calling you about. I said, okay. And I told Paul Sorrentino what the call was about. And about an hour later, David called me and said the same thing. He said, now, Pastor Wright, we're going to Iowa right after the announcement, and we don't want to upset the Iowa folk. And if in any way you can work into your prayer something about how egalitarian he is and how he reaches out to people of all ethnic groups. And I said, I got it, Dave. Got it. I got it.
I got it. Now, think about it. That was the first time Obama threw Wright under the stairs because he was scheduled the day he was going to announce he was running for president in Springfield. Jeremiah Wright was supposed to give the invocation. We don't think so. And it's funny thinking back historically here how angry the media was at me for daring to bring all this stuff up, and Barack Obama was scared to death about his friend, Jeremiah Wright. And I think this is one of the most damning things, if not the most damning thing in this interview. This is where Klein asks Wright if Obama was confident about being elected. This was in their private meeting that nobody knew about when Obama is begging him, please don't speak anymore. And here's what happened.
Was he confident about being elected?
At that point, yes, and he saw me as yes. He was confident, he was very hopeful, but he saw me as a deterrent, which is why he didn't want me to say anything.
How did you two leave each other that day in your living room?
He said, I'm sorry you don't see it that way. I said, oh, the most profound thing he said to me that day, he said, you know what your problem is? I said, what's my problem? You have to tell the truth. I said, that's a good problem to have. Which is my point again. Politicians don't have to tell the truth. The truth is what we say it is. Well, I can't live with that. That's why I can never be a politician. But I think that the transformed Barack has become a politician.
And when do you think that happened?
Once he got in office.
Presidency or Senate?
Presidency.
Presidency.
Think about what Wright's saying here to him. I mean, so in a secret meeting they have, Wright is describing that Obama's saying, please get out of the way. You're a deterrent to my ambition here. And he saw me as a deterrent. And then Obama tells him, you know what your problem is? You have to tell the truth. Wright says, well, that's a good problem to have. Wright says, think about how that's basically Wright is saying about his friend that he would say anything to get elected. And they tried to hide it. All right, 800-941-SEAN is our number. We'll continue.
Doing the mainstream media's job. Election 2012. The year we vet President Obama. Now, back to the Sean Hannity Show.
All right, we're doing the job mainstream media won't do.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.